Hey everyone, welcome to US Daily Beat. It's Saturday, August 15th, 2026, and I'm so glad you're here. We've got some really interesting stories for you today. Powerful magnitude 7.7 earthquake kills at least 47 in Indonesia. 11 killed in Israeli strikes on southern Lebanon, authorities say. Electric vehicle sales targets could be cut after pressure from car makers. But real quick before we dive in, if you'd like to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe and give this video a like. It genuinely means the world to us, and it's what keeps this show going every single day. All right, with that said, let's get into it. Let's start with something happening in world news. When the ground shakes this hard, the numbers can change fast, but what we know right now is deeply serious. A powerful 7.7 magnitude earthquake has killed at least 47 people in eastern Indonesia, and rescue teams are still racing to find survivors. The hardest hit area appears to be Flores, an island in the country's east, where crews are working through damaged buildings and debris to reach anyone who may still be trapped. If you're wondering why this region is so vulnerable, it's because Indonesia sits right along the Pacific Ring of Fire, one of the most active earthquake zones on the planet. That means quakes like this aren't just possible there, they're a constant risk, and even a few seconds of shaking can turn into a major disaster. What we'll be watching next is whether the death toll rises, how much damage was done to homes and roads, and whether hospitals and emergency teams are able to keep up. In situations like this, the first hours matter most because that's when survivors are most likely to be found. And for anyone watching from afar, this is a reminder of how quickly a natural disaster can upend daily life. Now let's talk about world news. Another tense day on the Israel-Lebanon border, where violence has once again spilled over and civilians are paying the price. Lebanese authorities say 11 people were killed in Israeli strikes in southern Lebanon, after Israel's military said it was targeting what it called Hezbollah terror infrastructure. Israel says the strikes were a response to earlier action against its soldiers, which is part of the same back and forth that has been building for months. If you've been following this region, you know the southern Lebanon border has become one of the most dangerous flashpoints in the wider conflict. Hezbollah, the Iran-backed armed group based in Lebanon, has been trading fire with Israel across the border, and every exchange raises the risk of something much bigger. That's why this matters beyond the headlines. When strikes hit this area, it's not just about military targets, it's about whether the fighting stays contained or starts to pull in more of the region. What we'll be watching now is whether this is another isolated escalation or the start of a sharper response cycle. In a place this volatile, even one attack can set off the next. Now let's talk about business and finance. If you've been hearing a lot about the switch to electric cars and wondering how fast it's really supposed to happen, here's the latest twist. The government is now considering easing the pressure on car makers. The current plan calls for 80% of new car sales to be electric by 2030, but that target could be cut to 50% after pushback from the auto industry. And that's a pretty big deal because these sales targets are one of the main tools governments use to push the market toward cleaner vehicles. Car makers have argued that the transition is moving too fast, especially with costs, charging access, and consumer demand still uneven in some places. On the other hand, supporters of the stronger target say changing course now could slow investment and make it harder to hit climate goals later. So why should you care? Because this isn't just about car companies. It can affect the price and availability of EVs, how quickly charging networks expand, and what kind of car choices we all see on the lot over the next few years.